Okay, listen to this. So
Previously, I have created a video on how you can turn Gemini into a text-to-speech tool that could be the 11 Labs alternative.
And I think this is pretty cool because this audio was created from the Gemini TTS model. It is a built-in API within the Gemini app. You can also select the voice, emotion, or the accent of the character. And again, it is a good alternative to 11 Labs. And not to mention, it is free. But then I just discovered that you can use the same technique or technology to generate a dialogue, conversation, or perhaps podcast, if you will, using the Gemini TTS model. So basically, with this method, you can generate realistic and human sounding podcast, and you can also select the voice of the character. This is very interesting. So let me give you one example, and then later I'll show you how you can get this result in Gemini. So this is one example.
So today we're talking about something called Laura. And no, before you ask, it's not a character from a fantasy novel, and it's not the singer of that one pop song.
No, definitely not. It stands for low-rank adaptation. It's actually a huge deal in the AI world right now. It's basically the secret sauce for customizing massive AI models efficiently.
Okay.
Okay, so that was created by the Gemini TTS model, and it is not the default audio overview feature in Gemini. You could obviously create a realistic and human sounding podcast by sending a prompt like generate audio overview from document or topic, and Gemini will give you this playback where you can listen to the podcast that was created by AI. It's pretty cool, but this is another way to create podcasts in Gemini or to create dialogue in Gemini. So let me show you how you can get something like this. Let's open Gemini. And for this example, I'm going to turn this document. This document talks about weights in AI, and I want to create a podcast or conversation from this topic. Okay, so here in Gemini, you can copy and paste this prompt. You can get this prompt in the description down below. And let's put that on Gemini. Okay, click Tools and then enable Canvas. Select the Pro or Thinking. I do recommend to use Pro because after all, we are going to use the coding capability of Gemini. So select the Pro option, send a message, and just wait. So what's going to happen now is that Gemini will utilize its built-in internal API that is able to use the Gemini text-to-speech or TTS model, and also Gemini will analyze the document. It will create a podcast or dialogue or whatever conversation that you want to create from the topic or document, and then after that we can combine them. We can create the audio or speech version of the dialogue, and we can download them in one unified or combined file, audio file like this one. So it's really cool. Anyway, this will take quite some time, so I'll just skip over and I'll show you the next step. Okay, so this is the result. Now, even though you might be using the same prompt, the UI, the interface could be a bit different, but the main purpose is still the same. You can generate podcasts from this conversation that was derived by AI from the document topic that you have provided. So this is one example from my document, and I can select the voice. I can select the voice for the host and also for the guest, I guess. And then I can click generate podcast. And by the way, right now on this prompt, there is no mention about the ability to modify the content, but I think you can do it. If you want, let's say, to modify the text here, modify the dialogue, you can tell AI to add that feature. And then after that, you might be able to replace something or change the wordings in the dialogue. Feel free to do that. But in this case, I'll just use this default version and I'll click generate podcast. So what's going to happen is Gemini will use the Gemini TTS model, and then it will transcribe, actually not transcribe, but to convert this text into audio, into voice, into speech, and then later it will combine everything into one audio file. I think it's going to be in the WAV format, and you can download the file into your computer and Of course, you can use it for other projects. You can upload that on social media, on YouTube, etc. So I guess I'll just wait a bit longer. And this is going to be, well, I would say it can be a bit slower because it has to create the audio file one at a time, and then after that it will combine everything into a singular item or a singular file. So let me just skip forward and I'll show you the result. Alright, so I got this result, and let me just give you the first perhaps 20 seconds of this podcast. Take a listen.
Welcome back to the show. Today we are opening up the black box of artificial intelligence to look at the one thing that actually makes it smart. We hear about neural networks and deep learning, but what is the actual stuff inside doing the learning?
It's not magic, Alex. It basically comes down to one concept: weights.
Weights? Like gym weights? Heavy lifting?
Think of them more like dials on a massive mixing board. Imagine you're trying to predict the price of a house. You have all these inputs.
Okay, as you can see, or as you can hear, it sounds pretty good. It's very human because, again, we're using the best model from Google for voice or speech generation. Now, if you want to download this, you can click this download button, or you can click this menu and then click download to get that file to your computer. So yeah, that's basically how you can utilize the Gemini TTS to create a conversation or dialogue that sounds very natural. And also you can customize a lot of things about this AI tool that was again created by Gemini. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on my next video. Have a great day.